for supporting me on Patreon. It means so much to me. Hey, welcome back, or welcome here if you are new to my channel. I wanted to thank you all so much from the support I got from last week's video, where I finally released my Patreon page. And if you're following my Patreon page, where you will get one extra ASMR video every week, you already know what I was planning to make this Sunday. And from all of the feedback I received, I am planning on going through the Warhammer 40,000 Codex for the Space Marines. I thought this would be a very basic, I guess, something nice to start out with. You might know that I already made one Warhammer video during last Christmas with the Kill Team core book, and I really enjoy the Warhammer lore, and I really started getting into it. So I thought we're gonna go through this together today. This codex is very large and very thick compared to the other ones I got, due to the fact that there is a lot of lore to the Space Marines. I am really looking forward to doing this, and I'm really happy to have some of you guys that are also really into Warhammer. I really hope you will sit back and relax, and let's get into this video together. Thank you. I am finally testing out a new angle at my computer desk, but it's honestly very hard recording like this. So we will see how it goes. But here is the Warhammer 40,000 Codex Adeptus Astartes Space Marine. Space Marines, the Angels of Death. Some different contents: the Emperor's Sword, Champions of Humanity, Forces of the Space Marine, and Appendix. The Emperor's Sword. The Adeptus Astartes are the epitome of the Imperium's martial might. Bolters roar and chainswords snarl as the Space Marines fall upon their foes. Gunships weave through the enemy flag to pound their targets with volleys of missiles and howling laser blasts. Drop pods crash down from orbit, hatches blowing open to dislodge squads of bellowing Space Marines into the enemy's midst. Adamantium-armored battle tanks roar forward, guns firing shots after wrathful shot, as they annihilate the war engines of heretic and alien alike. Assault Marines plunge into the fight upon the blazing contrast of jump packs. Their headlong charge, supported by handling bikes and land speeders, stalwart Devastator brings their punishing heavy weapons to bear. Their thunderous salvo supporting their advance of ancient dreadnoughts and valiant Space Marines heroes. Everywhere the enemy are driven back, their morale shattered and their warriors slaughtered before the fury of the Angels of Death. Sons of the Primarchs. The age of strife was mankind's darkest hour, during which the light of civilization was almost extinguished. It was at this time that the Emperor arose on Terra with a grand scheme to save humanity. Using arcane science, he created 20 beings of incredible power, known as the primarchs. They were born to march at their father's side as he bestrode the stars to reunite the human race. However, the nascent primarchs were plucked from the Emperor's laboratory by dark forces and scattered across space. Undefeated, the Emperor used the primarchs' genetics records to create the Space Marines legions, vast host of post-human warriors with whom he would attempt to conquer the galaxy. The forging of heroes, incredibly strong, fast and resilient, Space Marines are the product of intensive genetic engineering. Pivotal to this process is the substance known as geneseed, a product of the same biomanipulations that created the primarchs. It is the gene seed that, when properly cultured, creates and develops the 19 specialized organs with which novated Space Marines are implanted. Every chapter of Space Marines must induct new warriors into its ranks in order to survive. Most are recruited from their home worlds and other nearby planets since the foundation of their brotherhoods. Through the trials by which the aspirants are selected vary greatly between different chapters, and they are invariably demanding and frequently perilous. The Codex has starters. In the wake of the Horus heresy, the Imperial was a torn and broken thing. Over the years that followed, it was the surviving primarchs of their loyalist legions that held the realm together, staving off countless threats with the blood of their sons. One wound continued to fester, however, that caused by Horus' unspeakable betrayal. Primarch Rebuke Guilliman's ultramarines emerged from the heresy almost intact. Cut off to the galactic south for the majority of the war, Guilliman's warriors had seen less fighting than most. Thanks to their minimal casualties and rapid rate of recruitment, the Ultramarines soon numbered over half of all the Space Marines that stood in humanity's defense. Guilliman wisely recognized that this state of affairs could not continue. Not only did the Primarch eschew such power himself, he also did not wish to see any one person rule over entire Space Marine legions ever again. Chapter Organization. The hallowed pages of the Codex Astartes describes in exhaustive detail the template by which Space Marines chapters should be organized. From the initiative Bannon Runners for the 10th Company right up to the glorious heroes of the chapter command, the Codex lays out company numbers, numerical strength, titles, heraldry and more. Armory, Librarius, 1st Company, 2nd Company, 3rd Company, 4th Company, 5th Company, 6th Company, 7th Company, 8th Company, 9th Company, 10th Company. Brother Garros raised his bolt gun and strode down the ramp of the Storm Raven. He dropped to one knee at the base of the ramp, sighting along his weapon as the brothers of this tactical squad spread out around him. Off to either side, the Ultramarines were deploying from the gunships and dropouts, forming a battle line upon the plains of Xandros. A 1,000 chapters, cold, dark, and infinitely menacing. The yawning void of space is not as empty as it seems. Xenak's hordes devour the whole worlds, traitors and heretics strike from the eyes of terror, corrupting all they touch. Worst of all, the hellish entities of the warp claw at the wheel, hungry to plunge the galaxy into madness and death. The worlds of the Imperium are scattered specks of light amid this turbulent gloom. These are the fragile glimmers that the Space Marines fight to protect, spreading their forces thin in their ongoing efforts to do so. It is estimated that approximately 1,000 chapters are at large within the Imperium as the 41st millennium draws to a close. There is therefore less than one Space Marine for every settled world in the Imperium, a figure made all the more remarkable by the fact that the Adeptus Astartes remain equal to their task. The Veiled Region, in Terra, the Maelstrom, the Ghoul Stars, Pelagron Cluster. Ultramarines. Masterful warriors and skilled strategists, the Ultramarines are the embodiments of heroism. Conquerors and protectors is equal measure. They stand for everything it means to be a Space Marine, though both their selfless courage and their strict adherence to the Codex of Astartes. They have spawned more successors to any other first funding chapter, and each one strives to live up to the example of their genetic forebears. Ultramar. The area around Macragge is called Ultramar, the stellar empire of the Ultramarines, and is unique among the domains of the Space Marines, where other chapters rule over a single planet, asteroid, or in some cases a mobile space fleet of orbital fortress. The Ultramarines reign over no fewer than 8 local systems. Macragge. Macragge is mostly bleak and rocky, with more than 3/4 of its landmass formed from mountains and land or frozen plains almost entirely devoid of life. The people of Macragge do not live in this inhospitable region, but the fortress monastery of the Ultramarine is built here upon a craggy peak surrounded by impenetrable mountains. Macragge is the most heavily fortified planet within Ultramar, bristling with defense lasers and armored bastions, the most formidable of which are the planet's polar fortresses. White Scars. The enemy's first sight of the White Scars is often also their last. The sons of the Khan hunt their prey patiently before launching a furious lightning attack intended to utterly annihilate their stunned victims. Favoring swift hit-and-run warfare, the White Scars field are a great many bikes, land speeders, and armored transports in their strike forces, and are experts in their use. Corsaro Khan. Though the White Scars are mighty indeed, there are those foes who, through foul artifice or Xenox trickery, face the sons of the Khan and live to tell the tale. Such individuals cannot be allowed to survive, for their existence is a stain upon the White Scars' honor. Every 25 years, at the height of the rites of howling, the master of the hunt is charged with chasing down one such enemy and claiming their head, that it may be impaled on a spike before the White Scars fortress monastery of Quan Shou. The current master of the hunt is Corsaro Khan, the brave, violent, and headstrong leader of the White Scars. Third Company. It is said that no foe can outrun this masterful hunter forever, for Khan's vengeance is inevitable, and his ancient bike, Moondraken, tireless. Once his quarry has been chosen and the hunt begun, Corsaro Khan will pursue his mark even onto the furthest edge of the galaxy, and there he will take their head. Imperial Fists. The Imperial Fists are stern and unyielding, grim defenders of humanity whose determination is the stuff of legend. Holding themselves to the high standards set by the primarch, Rogal Dorn, the Imperial Fist will not accept failure, no matter the odds. They place great value on sacrifice and think nothing of paying the ultimate price if it will secure victory. There are those who say the stubborn streak is as much a deterrent as it's a boon, for it leads the Imperial Fist to engage in hopeless last stands when others might choose retreat. At a time when Adeptus Astartes are spread thin across the stars, many see such defiance as gestures as wasteful. Yet none can deny the Imperial Fist's record of impossible victories, or the number of worlds that would have been lost forever if it were not for the sacrifices of the Sons of Dawn. Darnath Lysander. No living warrior embodies the qualities of the Imperial Fist like Darnath Lysander, captain of the First Company, dauntless and unwavering. Lysander will never admit to defeat. Black Templars. Zealous crusaders in the Emperor's name, the Black Templars fall upon their foes in a storm of bolts and blades. A second founding successor chapter to the Imperial Fist, the Black Templars have always fought to uphold the honor of the Emperor and of Dawn. However, their first High Marshal, Sigismund, was distrustful of the Codex Astartes, believing it is a slight against his primarchs' teachings. Thus this chapter has ever been divergence from Gilliman's Codex, a trait that has become pronounced as the millennia have ground past. Abhor the Witch. Outsiders often mistakenly interpret the lack of librarians within the ranks of the Black Templars chapter, and the fury with which these battle brothers slay chaos sorcerers as an intolerance of all psychers. This could hardly be further from the truth, for the Black Templar holds special reverse for astropath, seeing them as holy disciplines who have automatically communed with the Emperor. Navigators are similarly honored. Their psychic blessings allow them to see divine light of the Astronomica and guide to the Black Templars through the warp to deliver righteous retribution against the Emperor's enemies. Crimson Fists. When the vast orc horde of Wa Snagrod descended upon their chapter planet of Rin's world, the Crimson Fist fought back with courage and determination. Ever have the successors of the Imperial Fist battled and defeated the Greenskin Scourge, and they had no reason to believe this conflict would be any different. Blooded Fist. The Crimson Fist have an extensive calendar of sacred days to honor the Emperor and the Primarch. Amongst these are the Days of Foundation, the Feast of Blades and the Festival of the Blooded Fist, in which a number of the chapter's promising scouts undergo their final trials before becoming full battle brothers. Salamanders. Roaring blasts of flame precede the salamanders as they march relentlessly into battle, calling themselves the Fireborn. These chapter warriors have a natural resistance to even the most intensive heat. They have made an elemental specialism of this, and they are well known for scoring their enemies from the field with walls of flame or a melt of fire. A legacy of hope. The Forge Father of the Salamanders have a quest all of their own, guided by clues inked within the Tome of Fire by Vulcan himself. They seek relics left by their lost Primarch. They would suffer any loss to retrieve these artifacts, for they believe that Vulcan will return to lead them once again when all 9 have been recovered. Striking from the shadows with sudden force, the Raven Guards are superbly skilled in the arts of stealth and misdirection. The chapter favors lightning-fast attack over battles of attrition, seeking to confound and dispatch their foes as quickly as possible. Their forces accordingly contain large numbers of jump troops, aircraft and scouts, all of whom possess the maneuverability to outflank, encircle and swiftly overwhelm the foe. Shadow Captain Strike. Under the direction of Shadow Captain Kaivan Shrike, the Space Marines of Raven Guard 3rd Company fight wherever they are most needed. They deploy not to war zones where the Imperial commanders fight to contain an alien invasion and crush the last vestige of rebellion, but to worlds that have been abandoned to their fates by an overstretched and uncaring Imperium. Iron Hands. The ground shakes to mechanical lockstep as the Iron Hands advance. Their optimized fire patterns, destroying all in their path. To a night-sight observer, the Iron Hands seem coldly motionless, almost entirely mechanical, with a little humanity left. Yet below the surface, the Iron Hands' souls burn within the bitter fires of fury long repressed. First Company. Every Space Marine fights wars beyond counting, battling on to death or glory time and time again. Those who survive commit great deeds and are eventually honored by elevation to the chapter's First Company, comprising 100 seasoned veterans. The First Company are the exemplars of their chapter, embodying the mighty primarchs of old. When the veterans of the First Company bestride the battlefield, it is as though the chapter's ancient heroes have stepped from a legend to fight once more. Seasoned warriors all, the veterans discharge their duties with courage and honor, whether it be holding a vital breach against onrushing orc hordes, or slaying some monstrous heretic warlocks, or purging Genestralis from the corridors as a twisted space hulk. The veterans of the First Company are always equal to the task. The battle companies. Whatever dropping from space into a demonic fortress, cutting through the nightmare tangle of Xena's invasion, or dueling heretic war engines across a blazing savannah. The Space Marines must be ready for any kind of conflict against all manners of foes. This duty falls to the 2nd through 5th companies of each chapter, known as the battle companies. The reserve companies. Mighty warriors though they are, even the Space Marines cannot wade through the fiercest war zones without casualties. The 6th through 9th companies of each chapter are therefore designed to reverse companies, each one comprising 100 specialist battle brothers who stand ready to place the battle company's losses. The 10th company. In a hostile galaxy, each Space Marine chapter must maintain a steady rate of recruitment or non-extinction. For this, they have their 10th company. The armory. Boasting impressive firepower, durability and speed, the fighting vehicles of the Adeptus Astartes form a vital part of each chapter's arsenal. The bulk of these potent war machines is collected together in the chapter's armory, providing the battle companies with an armored reserve from which to draw. The Lodge of the chapter. Every Space Marine is a hero, capable of deeds so incredible that they form the basis of folklore through the Imperium. Those who lead the chapters are greater still living legends whose victories echo through the ages, and whose inspirational examples spur their battle brothers to victory no matter what the odds they face. Space Marine Strike Forces. From mechanical murder worlds crawling with heretics to fire-wreathed deserts and even the cold depths of space, the forces of the Adeptus Astartes must be prepared to fight and win against any foe under any conditions. To ensure their readiness, the Space Marines go to war as fluidly assembled, strategically versatile strike forces. Campaign badges. When formed into a single army, disparate Imperial forces often displayed an unifying campaign badge. Space Marines normally paint these symbols onto the hulls of their vehicles and greaves of their armor, and sometimes retain them as badges of honor. The designs vary greatly, but usually incorporate a geometric shape and an icon. The badge's color may reflect the war zone in question, or be tied to other Imperial heraldry. The Chronicle of Heroes. For 10,000 years, the Adeptus Astartes have shielded mankind from the dangers of a hostile galaxy. The roars of Balkan and Battlecry have echoed down through the ages of the Imperium, bringing hope to humanity and terror to the foes. Now, as the darkness rises all around, and humanity faces its last, greatest battle to survive, the Space Marines are needed as never before. The Horus Heresy, the Scourging, the Second Founding, the Raven's Fate, the Howling, Firestorm, the Siege of Andrak Thor, the Battle for Columnus, the Guardian Snare, the Raven's Wrath, Slaying of the Beast, the Great Khan's Glory, and the Cornithan Crusade. And it just keeps on going. The Damocles Crusade, Battle for Macroc, the primarchs Legacy, Siege of Salatras, Glory to Kronos, Fire and Blood, Last Stand on Palamarcos. And it just continues. So much lore in this universe. Captains. Amid the fire and thunder of the front lines, Space Marines captains set a peerless example to the brothers as they carve down one enemy after another. Each captain is a skilled warrior, a veteran of hundreds of battles who has slain whole armies of foes during his celebrated career. And chaplains. To meet the baleful gaze of a Space Marine chaplain is to know that death itself will soon follow. This terrifying warrior priest can be found wherever the fighting is thickest, inspiring the brothers to greatness with every thunderous blow and roared extortion. Command squads. Wherever battle rages hottest, wherever enemy fire falls like rain and victory rests on the edge of a knife, there can be found these warriors of the command squad. These grizzled veterans accompany the heroes of the Adeptus Astartes to war, their specialized skills augmenting those of their commanding officer. Such a position brings glory and danger in equal measure, but the warriors of the command squads welcome both. Tactical squads. Tactical Marines advance into battle, their bolters spitting fury, their foes scattering before them like ashes in a gale. Where knots of enemies gather to fight back, flamers whoosh and heavy bolters roar their catechist Warhammer's elite of resistance plasma melta guns reduce the foe to smoldering embers. Assault Squad. The howl of jump-pack turbines heralds the neurotic descent of the assault marines, plunging from the sky with bolts, pistols blazing. They slam into their foes like a hurricane of destruction. Assault Centurions. Into the storm of battle marched the assault centurions, servos whining in their mighty armor, rubble crunching beneath their heavy tread. Encased in exoskeletal centurion warsuits, these hulking assault specialists are protected from all but the most overwhelming enemy firepower. Space Marine Bikes. Space Marine bikes race into battle to the throaty roar of engines. Whether sweeping wide around the enemy's flanks or punching like a hurled spear into the heart of the foe, the resilience and firepower of these swift steeds has been doom of mankind enemies on countless battlefields. Land Speeders. Skimming over the battlefield at breakneck speeds, land speeders bank and roll with incredible agility, able to navigate tangled urban ruins, narrow-sided canyons, and even to weave through dense forest canopies. The land speeders possesses unrivaled maneuverability. This enhanced by the superhuman reflexes of its Space Marines crew and capitalized upon through the incorporation of a resilient, if light armor, and an arsenal of heavy weapons. Devastator Squads. The world turns to flame as a Space Marines Devastators open fire. Missiles shriek into the midst of the foe, exploding with ferocious force. Searing blast of plasma melt through the armor of flesh, leaving vertified craters where enemies once stood. Devastator Centurions. Devastator Centurions pound their enemies with a remorseless, relentless rain of fire. Bloody havoc is wrought upon anything that falls within the Centurion's targeting reticles. The pilot's marksmanship is augmented by the grim machine spirits of the warsuits. Decimator protocols guiding the servo-assisted recoil absorption and their oracular auto-target to ensure the Centurions maintain a punishing rate of fire. Terminators. Near invincible and utterly indomitable, Terminators undertake those minions that even their power-armored brethren cannot. Whether it be an unsupported strike into the heart of an enemy fortress or hunting super-heavy war engines on foot, these heroic First Company veterans are equal to the task. Veterans. None can stand before the unquestionable might of the First Company veterans, masters of warfare with the decades, often centuries of experience in the field. Veteran squads fight with a cohesion and surety that is unmatched among their foes. These warriors have earned their pick of the finest weapons from the chapter's armory, and are trusted to enact whatever combat doctrines they see fit. Scouts. The thump of exploding fuel dumps, or the sudden hiss and crack of sniper rounds punching through skulls. These are the sounds of Space Marine Scouts of War. Dreadnoughts. The ground shakes at the advance of a Space Marine dreadnought. With its mighty power fist and blazing heavy weapons, this armored war engine tramples a path of destruction through its foes. Transports. Space Marines are rightly feared for the speed with which the warriors launch into the fray. This is due in no small part to the range of transport vehicles under their command, enabling squads to swiftly deploy and reposition. Tech Marines. Tech Marines are versed in the secrets of the machine guard. They are the only brothers within the chapter able to maintain the broad variety of weapons, equipments and vehicles that the Space Marines require to wage war. Without their wisdom, their chapter would soon cease to function as an effective fighting force, meaning that Tech Marines are held in the highest esteem by their brethren. Battle tanks. Engines roaring like thunder, the battle tanks of the Adeptus Astartes race into combat. Their weapons crack and boom, speeding the Emperor's fury at their foes. Their heavy tracks churn to the ground ruin, spraying mud and gore in their wake as the armored vehicles surge forward to shatter the enemy battle line. Gunships. Stormraven gunship streaks into battle with their weapons blazing, flak whipping around them as they rake the foe with bolts, blasts and warheads. More akin to a flying tank than a conventional dropship, the Stormraven is the most versatile aircraft in the arsenal of the Adeptus Astartes. Land Raiders. Grinding across the battlefield like a mobile fortress, the Land Raider obliterates all before it. Explosions blossom against its hull, even the heaviest weaponry doing little more than scorching the massive tank's chapter colors. Librarians. Eyes blazing and fists crackling with the roiling energies of the warp. Space Marines librarians stride into battle to destroy their foes. Some hurl blasts of force that crush their victims to paste, while others twist the flow of time itself, or revitalize the brothers to incredible surges of vitality. Legion of the Damned. One moment, hard-pressed battle brothers fight back to back, the screaming hordes of the foe closing in from all sides. The next, reality gives a sickening lurch, and terrifying figures coalesce into being, manifesting as Space Marines with macabre bone-covered armor, wreathed in spectral flame. The Legion of the Damned wreathed into reality with their bolt guns raised. The Ultramarines chapter. So these are the different ways to paint them, I guess. Red helms denote the rank of a sergeant. A white stripe is added to the helmets of a veteran sergeant, and an all-white helmet incidents veteran status. So these are all the different ways you can paint them to be accordingly to their lore and to their status once you play or paint with your Ultramarines. Ultramarines successor chapters. The different names: Genesis chapter, Nova Marines, Sons of Horror, Skites of the Emperor, Aurora chapter, Black Consults, Iron Snakes and Silver Skulls. Many different ways to paint them and to be different clans, I guess, or legions, chapters, codexes. Here's the White Scars chapter, Imperial Fists. Champions chapter. Different successor chapters. Here is our beautiful pictures of an example of the ultramarines. Champions of humanity. The warriors of the Adeptus Astartes march proudly to war in the iconic colors of their chapter. Their armor and vehicle hulls displaying an array of heraldry and insignia is directed by these pages of the Codex Astartes. Gathering in force, these heroes of the Imperial are formidable sight, and the enemies of the Emperor quail in fear at their approach. I really wish I would get into actually painting and playing Warhammer. I don't know if there are communities in larger towns, like one I live in right now. Just look at this beautiful handwork. Wow, this is amazing. Different examples of how they are supposed to be painted. Ultramarines Captain, Vulcan Heston, Ultramarines Librarian. Being able to make these small fine details, it's such an incredible feature. Like if you're able to paint and do this in such a miniature form, you should be really proud of yourself. It's a really cool thing that you are able to do. And you should be praised for that and for your hobbies. Forces of the Space Marines. The following sections details background and rules information that describes the foes used by the Space Marines, their warriors, their vehicles, and the characters that lead them into battle. This section will enable you to forge your collection of Space Marines miniatures into an army ready to fight battles in your games of Warhammer 40,000. Here is data sheets explaining how to read the different informations about the characters. Captain Sicarius, Chief Librarian Tigurius, Chaplain Cassius, Sergeant Talia, Sergeant Kronos, Corsarokan, Vulcan Hestan, Shadow Captain Shrike, Captain Lysander, Pedro Cantor, High Marshal Helbrecht, the Emperor's Champion, Chaplain Grimaldus. Some more beautiful pictures. Here we have the Captain, another Librarian, Tech Marine, Chaplain, Tactical Squad, Scout Squad, Crusader Squad, Command Squad, Honor Guard, Centurion Sword Squad, Vanguard Veteran Squad, and Stern Guard Veteran Squad, Dreadnoughts, Vulnerable Dreadnoughts, Ironclad Dreadnoughts, Legion of the Damned. Terminator Squad, Terminator Assault Squad, Assault Squad, Scout Bike Squad, the Bike Squad, and Attack Bike Squad. Land Speeder Storm, Land Speeder, Rhino, Razorback, Drop Pod, Storm Talon Gunship, Devastator Squad, Centurion Devastator Squad, Thunderfire Cannons, Predators, Whirlwinds, Vindicators, Hunters and Stalkers, Stormraven Gunship, Land Raider, Land Raider Crusader, Land Raider Redeemer, and Marneus Kalkar. Battle Demi Company and the Air Defense Force. 1st Company Task Force, Strike Force Ultra, Reclusium Command Squad, 10th Company Task Force. Stormwing, Centurion Siegebreaker Cohort, Land Raider Spearhead, Librarius Conclave, Armored Task Force, and Suppression Force. Just look into the midst of battle. You can see some green skinned orcs in the middle getting trapped. Here's the appendix. This section of the book details many of the rules for using an army of Space Marines in your games of Warhammer 40,000, including their unique warlord traits, war gear and tactical objectives. Different tactics depending on the chapter. So much information. I cannot fathom how huge this game is. Tactical objectives. And that was the last pages. The same wonderful art on the back side. I really hope you enjoyed this Warhammer ASMR video. I'm trying out this new angle to record in since I'm having to change my setups and everything. Feel free to leave a comment if you enjoyed this video. And feel free to check out my Patreon if you would like one extra video every week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you soon.